No field work.
Do they get extra credit for today? Or?
No extra credit. They
No?
just got to do their work. That's
Oh,
all.
that's tough, Rob.
And they're this will be the most they'll learn all year is just today, right?
From you guys.
Yeah.
You guys
Right,
get
exactly.
to talk to
Yeah, after they see how we here Skip beat up their professors.
Rob, how do we fix this?
It's fixable. Everybody makes this thing that it's like, oh, well, how do you get it done? How can you pay people? And first of all, one thing I'd like to see first fixed is the NBA players who sold out. They're the ones who created the one and done. David Stern went to them. You remember Skip 2005?
No, that's true.
Wanted it to be a 20-year-old minimum age. They worked it down. I think Jermaine O'Neal, if you remember back then, was one of the loudest against it. Called it racist.
Yes.
Right? Because every other place, every other sport, you can play. Tennis, 14, golf, 16. It makes no sense whatsoever. Right. And especially when you're stopping what I would consider a prodigy in some field. Correct. No other place would you say you can't do a job. So let's get that rule and let people who are talented enough get an opportunity. Put the onus on the GMs. Kids not ready? Don't draft them. Kids ready? Draft them. It's really simple.
Or if you draft him and he's not ready, joke's on you.
Right. Exactly. That's how it should be. And then I think that this is a turning point, and we've seen lately where these turning points have come from, mostly because we have video or audio, right? When you look at the Ray Rice, that was supposed to be a 2-game suspension. Yeah. All of a sudden, what happened? They got video. Donald Sterling, been rumored forever.
Audio. Yep.
Took his team away.
Done.
Changed, right?
Yep.
And now here we go. No matter all the rumors that we've always heard about coaches paying off, now the FBI, story is leaked that they have a coach talking cash money to a player.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash.
Wiretap.
Exactly.
Yep.
So here's our turning point on why this thing can change, and even why Miles Brand, right, has finally said we got to do something. It's just out there now, and it's not going to be a fair process where the swimmer gets the same amount of money as the quarterback from the football team or the star basketball player. No. But there's got to be some way to divvy up a fair way where these players, CBS signed a $6 billion deal with the NCAA for basketball. It's money.
TNT.
Right? TNT, you got jerseys on sale. All that money, start to pile that up. Make sure that the NCAA and basketballs are non-profit. There's no extra money to be put in the coffers. It's non-profit. So you take the expenses of all the money that it takes to run the program, whatever's left over, then you divvy it out in some sort of system where players are slotted. An A player, a B player, a C player, and a D player, and they get money from that other money that's left over. It's totally doable.
Because what the NBA did is they wanted you to protect them from themselves, Skip. Because they make it seem like Adam Morris wasn't a bust. Morrison, a big country. They went multiple years of college. They make it seem they started wanting people to believe that only the guys coming out of high school were failures. Not some of the other guys that were sophomores, juniors, and seniors weren't living up to their end of the bargain. And so they're like, oh no, we got to stop these one and done. If you don't have to draft him. I can go for a job interview. That don't mean they have to hire me, Skip. But here's the problem that you're going to have. If we start paying, and I believe the guys should get paid. Look, scholarship is one thing, but you ain't saying nothing about selling my jersey. And well, what about the gymnast and what about the swimmer? Well, they ain't selling leotards in the bookstore. They're selling basketball and football jerseys. So those non-revenue generating sports, I'm sorry, you can't get the same thing as the star quarterback or the star basketball player. We understand that. There's a trickle-down effect that how this thing goes. But here's the problem that you're going to run into, Skip. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, colleges could play football or could play the players. If Duke could give $4,000 a semester, Carolina going to find a way to give you $4,500.
Okay, I agree.
And then you got Kentucky giving $5,000.
That's why that won't work. I agree.
Therein lies the problem, because I got to one up you, Skip. It's just like it's competition. If I want to go, if Google and Apple and Microsoft, all these are competing, Skip, You want that guy, I got to find a way to get him. So I got to offer you something that these other groups are not.
I get that, and that's a fair point. But no money is not going to work.
You got to get
it's
something.
Not, so I get that somebody will try to outbid but there's got to be some sort of parameters and some safeguards.
Yeah. So every time I say what I'm about to say again, I'm accused of being anarchist, a communist. This is blasphemy. This is heresy. But it's just the god-awful truth about college sports. And I'm a college sports fan, so I'm a hypocrite because I fall into the trap too often. I love to watch my Vanderbilt Commodores, and I think those kids are going to the same classes that I went to. They're sitting in the same classrooms.
And get better grades than you. Do you think that?
I don't think they do.
Yeah, they get better grades than you.
How can you get better than A's, man?
All A's?
A plus.
Yeah.
What do you got to see in journalism? No, okay.
No. No journalism at Vanderbilt. No department.
Oh, no.
English major. Now, back to the basics here. The NCAA has always gotten away with selling this ivy-covered ideal of the student athlete. It's what sells in March Madness. Everybody be true to your school, root for your school, right? And it's a mirage. It's a lie. It's all image making because we know it's not true. So let's get to step number one. Somebody has to organize a union of these kids coming out of high school to take this to court because the Supreme Court of this land would rule this is all unconstitutional. You can't do this. You can't tell kids in the United States of America they have to wait 1 year to play pro basketball and 3 years out of high school. You have to wait to play pro football and earn a living if you're qualified at 18, which some are. And then we get to this. If you're going to force them to go to college, then you have to open this up. And this is where I get accused of anarchy. You tell me what would happen if you had no rules in college basketball or football and you let the boosters at every school pay offer whatever they wanted to offer. Well, seriously, is this not America's supply and demand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that Ayton kid, he's probably going to be the first pick in the draft, DeAndre Ayton. So he's coming out, and he can change life at the University of Arizona. Well, if you allow the boosters at Arizona or wherever they want to offer whatever, would they offer him $1 million? Sure they would. They might offer him $3 or $4 million because he would be worth it. Right. Like Baker Mayfield at the University of Oklahoma, the school I grew up loving last year. What do you think the boosters would have paid for Baker Mayfield just for last year, and he won the Heisman Trophy coming off a great year the year before? What was he worth to the boosters, not the school, to the people who fund the school, by and large?
Yes.
He was probably worth $5 million last year, at least. Did he deserve to make $5 million? Yes, he did.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's what we're doing here. If you're going to make them, you should open it up.
There you go.
Supply and demand.
If you force these basketball players to go to college,
it should be free market economy. Just pay them whatever they're worth. Open it up. What if you just open it up? There are a bunch of people who went to Duke who have deep pockets.
Yeah.
And I know it would jar their psyche to say, I'm going to pay them to come. Yeah, you are. Because they're going to be worth it.
Some people would say, well, everybody would go to just the same school.
Nope, they
but
wouldn't.
It's not true.
There are only so many slots.
Exactly.
And some kids don't want to go to Duke because they don't want to be in North Carolina or whatever.
Right.
You know,
or they already have a star point guard. So if you're another great point guard, you're not going to Duke.
It would all settle. It would settle just like it settles otherwise. And these kids would get, see, you can't say, give them $1,000 a month, because then somebody would cheat with $1,000.
$1,500.
Yeah, it's just absurd. And that's too little money. Like the money we kept reading that DeAndre Ayton was offered $100,000. $100,000?
That's nothing.
Well, it's a joke for what he's brought to that school.
The point you brought up about the union is on the money. That when Northwestern they were trying to unionize,
they tried.
They have to have a union, someone to represent their interests.
Right.
Because what happens is the coaches have and the NCAA have them over a barrel because it's only about your scholarship. You're not a part. So if you step out of line, I can yank your scholarship. And if they have protections as a group, then you couldn't do that.
And scholarships are a 1 year commitment.
That's
you don't
all
get
it is.
Because at any time they can take that scholarship and say, nah, you're not welcome.
Right.
So it's not a 4 year commitment.
Right.
Most people don't know that.
From that university to you. But Skip, if you force these guys, they say, I really want to go to the NBA, and you force them to go to college, you got to offer them some compensation.
You just do. And yet, just in the big picture, has allowing the best players in this country, best basketball players to play only 1 year of college basketball, has that wrecked college basketball? No, it doesn't, because it all settles. It all comes out in the wash where, to your eye, as you're watching March Madness, are you thinking, think of all the kids who are in pro basketball who could be in this tournament right now if they had to stay for 4 years?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It all looks the same. It all evens out.
But it all still comes back to the GMs and those scouts who have to do their job. And if a kid, they're all afraid that, oh, this kid, well, we got to take a flyer on him because we think he's going to.
Right.
If he's not ready, it's so simple. You can't blame the kid. He can't draft himself.
Right. There were a lot of years when you could go straight from high school and they had to make those choices.
Right.
And Jermaine O'Neal was one of the first big ones. Right. And he sat on the end of the bench in Portland for 3 years, just eating up a spot. And then you had speaking of unions, then you had the NBA union full of veteran players who said, we don't want to lose our slots to 18-year-olds who are going to sit on the end of the bench.
That's why they went against and agreed with this plan.
But I mean, you're gonna Jermaine O'Neal, he turned out to be great. But then the Kevin Garnett,
he's pretty good.
He's an all-star. But then you get the KGs, then you get the LeBrons, you get the Dwight Howard. You got some guys that
Kobe.
You started getting the guys like, whoa, wait a minute.
So then they started going crazy.
Those 4 guys you just named.
Okay, but here's
in the scope of the NBA.
But here's the thing. What about those 4 prominent attorneys? You make it seem like everybody that goes get a law degree become prominent attorneys, or everybody becomes a doctor. The only reason we talk about this is because it's athletes, Skip. So everybody that goes try to get a law degree from Harvard, they become successful. Right. They make it. Everybody get a medical degree. No, they don't.
Well, yeah, but the point is why the rule shouldn't be in place, because there aren't that. There's Kobe, there's Dwight Howard,
that's what I'm
there's
saying.
LeBron. Everybody's not that. You can see that.
Let me make that decision.
Right.
If I make a decision to step out there
and it doesn't work out,
okay, it's on me.
You know what you do? You go get a job like everybody else if it doesn't work out.
Right. I guarantee you, there's a lot of people that thought they were going to make it big in Hollywood working normal jobs right here in L.A.
You got that right. There still are.
I know. I'm on this show.
Rob, see,
oh, you came to L.A. Oh, you gonna be Jake Claver.
This was your backup job? You're gonna
Rob
start
wants to be in the movies.
No, I don't. Anybody that can get an online degree and can be on TV.
I know.
And
become a professor.
Yeah, a professor.
Wow.
Molding
with
young
an
minds.
online degree.
There's something wrong with an online degree?
Yeah, there's something wrong. You shouldn't be able to order a degree and pizza from the same.
And a watch.
With a Groupon.
He got his master's from Columbia University. That's all you
High
need
school.
to know.
That's all you need to
Columbia
know.
High School in Decatur, Georgia.
Uptown New York, Manhattan. You know it, Skip.
I do.
I don't know, Rob. I just have a hard time believing. I just have a hard time believing you got a degree from Columbia.
We saw it.
I saw it.
That? You don't believe it?
It was written on notebook paper. Not sheet guns. It was notebook
Thanks
paper.
for joining us, Professor Rob. Has Anthony Davis become one of the best players in the NBA? We'll discuss that with Steven Jackson next.